Hi, I'm Mitchell Davis. I'm the police chief here in the village of Hazel Crest. Coming to you today to dispel some information, correct some information that's been disseminated about crime and the police department here in the village of Hazel Crest. Going to hit on a couple things up front and then go into an action plan going forward. There was a village meeting a couple nights ago whereby parents were sharing their concerns about crime, and it was hosted by School District 152 and a half. And the parents had concerns about the safety of their kids going and coming from the schools, and there was some question as to why there was nobody from the village at the meeting. All the village officials were at our city council meeting. Our city council meeting is every second Tuesday and every fourth Tuesday of the month at 6 o'clock, the administrative meeting, 7 o'clock, the general meeting. And that meeting was scheduled on the same date and time as that meeting. So that's why there were there was no administration from the village at that meeting. So I want to make sure that I clarify that. We have a great partnership with District 152 and a half. We always have and we always will. We work with them on a constant basis, and not just 152 and a half, but District 144 and our high school districts as well. We have tremendous working relationships, and that will never change. But I wanted to make sure that that was clear. Secondly, there was a video that I put out earlier this week. It was actually a press release that we put out to the media, and it had a video of 4 men shooting in an area of town off of Kedzie, in the area of Elm and Kedzie in Hazel Crest. It was from a local video from a person's home, and it showed 4 people shooting down Elm Street. And there was a police squad car there. There was a Hazel Crest squad car there. People were wondering, well, are they so brazen to shoot at the police and they're in the squad car? Wanted to clarify that squad car was an unmanned squad car. What do I mean by that? We have a speed trailer that we move around town, and that speed trailer is used to show folks how fast they're going and hopefully deter them from speeding through town. Well, another thing that we do is we have unmanned squad cars. We'll place them around town in hopes that people will see the squad car and slow down. This was one of those speed deterrent squad cars that we had sitting in the area. There was no police officer there. It had nothing to do with the actual incident. It was an unmanned squad car that's used as a speed deterrent. The state police do this. Other towns do this. You may have seen them on the roadway, but that's what that squad car was. So I wanted to make sure that I clarified that as well. The reason we put that video out was to ask for the community's help in identifying the offenders. We put out community alerts like that when we have situations that present a danger to the community and we need their assistance. That's how we have to do true community policing, working together with the community to solve crimes. We've done it before, we've been successful before, and this is another time we want to be successful as well. Third thing I want to address before I get into a few things real quickly is a notice that went out, a flyer that went out to all the residents in the village of Hazel Crest. It had my picture on here, and it had 5 different still shots. One of them is what appears to be a homicide victim with chalk line around them. Another one is a broken window with a Kia. Another one is some people standing behind some crime tape. And then there's 2 pictures of guys with guns. Well, these 3 pictures are not in the village of Hazel Crest. I just want to make that clear and make sure that that's understood. First of all, people putting chalk lines around homicide victims, that doesn't happen in real life. That's a movie thing. So that's not, first of all, it didn't happen in Hazel Crest, and I probably was some type of staged event somewhere on the internet. These 2 pictures, once again, were not in Hazel Crest. These 2 pictures actually were of Hazel Crest events. I spoke a couple seconds ago about how we put out community alerts when we need the community's assistance. Well, last year, we had an incident where there were people online and they were filming themselves with guns in Hazel Crest and just kind of promoting violent behavior. Well, I put out still shots of them, and these were 2 of the still shots that I put out to the media, and with the community's help, we actually arrested both of those people as a result of that community alert. So community alerts work, and we use them on a basis that is needed so that we can make sure that we're getting the help from the community. On the back side of that same flyer was some information that I want to make sure that I clarify. There's a source that's quoted here on this flyer, and it talks about how a crime rate of 34 per 1,000 residents in the village of Hazel Crest makes us one of the highest communities as far as crime in the United States. I want to make sure that we put this in perspective. 34 per 1,000 residents. From a percentile standpoint, 34 per 1,000 residents is 0.034%. 0.034%. I don't consider this source a valid source that these numbers came from, so I went to a source that I consider to be valid. We are mandated by law to report our crime numbers to the state of Illinois, who then forwards them to the FBI. Our crime numbers through the Illinois State Police. Our crime numbers through the Illinois State Police have us at 7.5 as our crime level. 75. Now you might say, well, why is he saying, hey, actually the 34 is better than the 75? Well, actually it isn't. The number I gave you that was put on this flyer is 34 per 1,000. Our 75 is 75 per 100,000. So that is 0.00075% is your chance of being a victim of crime in the village of Hazel Crest. So I want to put these numbers in proper perspective. I'm a numbers person, and for those who are numbers people, I just wanted to make sure that I put that in the proper perspective. There's also some other things that were pointed out here, saying that I have been holding back and I wouldn't allow my officers to give out critical data, crime data about gangs and crimes. As I mentioned a moment ago, we are mandated by law to submit our crime numbers to the state of Illinois, and they are open to the public to view at any time. So I wanted to make sure that I addressed that as well. Now, those are some things I hit on. Let's talk about strategies moving forward and what the Hazel Crest Police Department is doing. There's 5 different points of attack that we need to be worried about when it comes to crime. As I mentioned, there was a community meeting the other day that I was not able to attend because we were at our city council meeting. But I did do an interview with the media. The media wanted to hear my perspective. So after the city council meeting, I met with them at the police department. You may have seen it on the news. The first question they asked me was, what's the problem? What truly is the problem here in Hazel Crest? And I told them that the problem is young people with guns. That's it. That's the major problem, is young people with guns. And it's not just a Hazel Crest problem, it's a societal problem. So we've got to address young people with guns, and if we do that effectively, we can make a dent in what's going on. How do we go about doing it? As I mentioned, there's 5 different prongs. The police, they're one part of that solution, but they're not the only part of that solution. So we got to make sure we keep that in mind. So we're talking about young people. When it comes to young people, who has the most contact and influence with young people? First and foremost, their families. If you look at these videos that young people are putting online, when they're showing themselves, and you're seeing these posts where people are catching people shooting guns, oftentimes it's not just handguns, but it's also long guns, rifles is what you see. I don't understand how a parent cannot know that a kid has a rifle in their bedroom at home. Maybe they don't know what to look for. I don't know. I don't know the answer. But what that tells me is we've had to spend more time educating our parents, our families, on making sure that they know what to look for, how to deal with it. Because let me tell you, we've got a 12 and a 13-year-old that are in custody right now that are from the village of Hazel Crest. This 12 and 13-year-old, we didn't pick them up in the village of Hazel Crest. One was picked up in another village being involved in a shooting. Another one was turned in by his mom. These 2 young people at 12 and 13 years old have wreaked havoc. They wreaked havoc in the village of Hazel Crest and the entire south suburbs, to the point where their grandparents and their parents are begging the criminal justice system to hold them. We've got to help these families out when they have children like this. These are not isolated incidents. There are young people that are holding their families and their communities hostage in the Southland and across this country. And we've got to come up with systems to try to help them. That's what a prong as far as the family and the parents are concerned. The other people who have contact with the young people are the schools. So let's look at the school. How can we help the schools? We got to help the teachers in the schools. But let's look at some numbers right quick. Our teachers in District 152 and a half, that's who held this meeting. Our teachers are tremendous. Looking at the state numbers, teachers at the proficiency level that they should be, either proficient or excellent, the average school district has about 97.2% teachers that are at that proficiency level. Our teachers are at 97.1. So they're right there with everybody else in the state of Illinois. And they're doing a tremendous job. So we got the teachers we need. We know we got the quality. So let's look at some other things that we need to make sure of as far as helping the schools out. Teachers are where they're supposed to be. Our kids' proficiency level for grade school in reading and in math are 10%. 10% proficiency level. The state average is 34. Now 34 is not enough, but with the state being 34, we're only at 10. We wonder why. Why are our kids at 10? We got the teachers with the credentials, but our kids are at 10 and not at 34. Well, District 152 has a chronic truancy level of 70%. 70%, and the state average is 22%. If the kids aren't in school, they're not able to learn. They got the teachers, they got the credentials, but if they're not in school, they're not able to learn. So, and if they're not in school, they're probably doing things they got no business doing. So we've got to figure out, how do we help the school district? How do we help the teachers? How do we focus on getting these young people in school and learning and get them to the levels that they can be productive in our society and in our communities? Speaking of community, that's the fourth prong on it. The community has to come together. When you see something, say something. When you see things happening in the community, work together with us and the schools to help address those concerns so that we can get them out of the community. And lastly, the legislators. Our legislators have to put laws in place to help us to hold young people accountable, but to also provide the resources that we need in order to help them and their families and the schools to be better. So that five-pronged approach, that's my solution moving forward. Those are the things that we need to address: police, family, school, community, and legislators. Here in the village of Hazel Crest, we're doing all that we can to keep you safe. We have a tremendous community, and our crime level is not so different and so high over any other community that is having us out there looking bad. It's not. We are a tremendous, safe community. There are incidents that happen here, but they are not everyday incidents. Our kids at 152 and a half are safe going to and from the school. We don't have a lot of incidents around our school. Absolutely, things have happened, but they are not everyday occurrences, and they don't exist. So I just wanted to take a few moments to share with you our perspective on what's going on with crime. We will be having some community meetings coming up soon, and they're cafe style meetings so that we can come out with solutions, not just complain sessions, but solution sessions. And I ask you to please look at the e-news, all the literature that goes out from the village. Look at the signboards to find out when we will be having these meetings, because we need your input. Law enforcement can't do it alone. I thank you. Have a blessed day. Once again, I'm Chief Mitchell Davis from the Hazel Crest Police Department, and I thank you.